Fancy glass for water today, huh?
I know. My drink of choice. It's sparkling water, splash of lemon juice.
Nice.
Super refreshing.
Yep.
Got to hydrate to be great, is what they say.
I like that, especially with the heat.
Yep.
Having a heat wave coming through here, mid 80s. Wow, crazy.
Oh wow.
This weekend.
Damn.
Not too hot, but it's hot enough. Hot for Wisconsin.
That's hot. Yeah.
All right. Wait a little bit. Have you been doing some good sourcing? I feel like I've there's been a lot of deals on, I don't know. My leads have been solid.
Yeah.
Like my VA leads, I've rejected like 2 in the last like 20 leads. It's great.
That's awesome. I wouldn't say like anything out of the ordinary, like I've kind of just ever since my whole debacle a couple months ago with Amazon, it kind of set me back a little bit from going too crazy. I mean, I'm still spending plenty, but as I'm sure but like the more your catalog gets bigger and bigger, if my spend stays the same, it doesn't take me like a crazy amount of time, right? Because you're just literally, you have a bigger pool and you have more knowledge and all that stuff.
Yep.
So kind of devising a plan to like incrementally scale up through the rest of the year though. Scale up, spend more as we get into Q4 basically.
Yeah, we'll have to do a session on back to school when it gets a little closer. There are actually a few listings that I have been looking at. I haven't purchased any back to school stuff yet, but definitely been looking because I know last year I had some like 4 or 5 really good ASINs that I did really well on, and August was my best month last year. So nice. I kind of want to do the same, but I know the ASINs that did really well, so it doesn't hurt to be prepared for those specific ASINs because they're probably going to do well again. I can't imagine they wouldn't.
Was it your best month because of back to school or just coincidental that happened to be on top of it? Yeah.
Well, there was a couple of good ASINs that I had going, and then back to school helped for sure. Like I was doing a lot more retail arbitrage than I had normally done, but it was not like I had to hit home runs every time I went out. It was never a wasted sourcing time.
Yeah.
So
I'd like to learn more about back to school because I don't know if it's one of those things that just gets more hype than what's real, or if I am missing out on opportunities. So I think that'd be valuable for myself.
Yeah, we'll talk offline.
Yeah,
maybe we'll drop some gems for the listeners here. But
cool.
Yeah, so we're into it a couple minutes here, but today's topic, we are basically going to dive into the realm of social media and how that's helped us make connections, how that's helped us grow our Amazon business. It's not just posting, trying to get famous on social media, right? Like that's not really our goal. If you've noticed from our content, we're really trying to post educational content, contribute to the Amazon space and find ways to utilize that to grow our business. And it's helped a ton for both of us. I think we both have different experiences using social media and posting and creating content, but it's definitely helped both of us in a lot of different ways. So we'll go about, we'll talk about all the different ways that, we've used social media, the different sites we're posting on, what type of content we're posting, and then, how that's helped us meet people and, make money a little bit. I mean, there's a million different things social media has done. So, any initial thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the only other thing is also, I think it's understandable that not everyone wants to show their face for whatever reason. I still think this is still valuable to those people, and we should make a point to discuss that as well. But, I was thinking as you were talking, I was like, and I'll share mine after you, but I'm curious, like what was your initial thought on why you started posting and like, how has it changed, if at all, like today?
Yeah. So I wish there was an easy way to check when my account was created, but my Instagram, I didn't start posting until maybe like fall of 2022.
Okay.
And I started Amazon like January of 2021. So, it was almost 2 years by the time I even made my first post anywhere on any social media. And I think the reason I started posting was to just have some credibility in the space. And if I were to reach out to larger sellers, which I was following plenty at the time, I just didn't post myself. So following some larger creators, I was like, I just feel like, if I can do something in the space, whether it's, post educational content, post, my journey, whatever it is, I feel like if I reached out to basically any seller, I have a better out of connecting with them based on, my posts and what they see on my channel versus like an account with 0 posts, like 2 followers and not even my face in the profile picture. So, so I kind of wanted to connect is kind of the biggest thing. So yeah, I just started posting educational content. Because that is the nice thing about how long it took me to start posting on social media is the content I was posting, I had been selling on Amazon for almost 2 years. So I had learned plenty over that amount of time. So I'm not in this time, it wasn't the time where I'm like, oh, I can only post orange bars or the boxes that I'm shipping out because, I had been using a repricer for how long? I had been, looking at VAs and different things. So I had these experiences that a lot of newer sellers don't have or haven't had yet. So I feel like the educational stuff was actual value and not, just fake or pretend whatever. So it was genuine content. So that was kind of how I got started or why I got started.
And as far as your why today, is that continue to build credibility? Is it hoping to like, coach or leave that door open, or like what is your thoughts with like, because you're busy, you have other streams of income now, which we'll talk about, but it's not as easy as just typically opening your phone. Like every reel takes the average person, I would imagine, at least 10 minutes, if not 20 after the edit and multiple takes, etc. So like what keeps you going now?
Yeah, I think now because of the way my channels have grown, like money comes into it a little bit. Like I'm not posting specifically like I just want to make money on social media, but because YouTube pays me now, it's not much, but right, it's something to like give you that little extra drive to say, oh, I want to continue to do this because it's only going to go up from here seemingly if you're consistent. Which I haven't been great about, but also the connection still. I mean, I just still really like the aspect of there's just so many sellers that you have probably never heard of before that are on the same level or doing just a little bit better than you that, they might reach out to you or you might reach out to them at some point. And then all of a sudden you're in a group of 3 or 4 people sharing leads. And now you get 3 or 4 like really solid, right, $1 million plus seller leads coming to you every day or every week that you wouldn't have had if you didn't do the social media side of things. So the connections, I think, is always the top priority for me on whatever I post on social media, and hoping that I can connect with somebody who's, I can either help them and then they help me in return, or just, providing value and hoping that it comes back to me at some point.
Yep. No, I get that.
How about with you or ask?
I started it inconsistently or pretty early on in the journey. I think I was a couple months in, I started making stuff, and I kind of remember I was part of a group and I was just doing numbers, and I was like part of this really big Facebook group during COVID when I started, and I was doing numbers. I'm like, I'm paying for coaching. I bought a course or 2 on grocery and this, and I did like, if I took the number of people following versus like a small percentage, I'm like, this person's making $6,000 in just education, right? And well-deserved, by the way. And I'm like, I know that I'm comfortable like recording and stuff, showing my face. I know what I feel pretty good about what I'm doing. And like, I had a knack for it early on, sourcing in Amazon. And my thought at the time was just like, one day maybe I can monetize this, right? I will say I didn't realize how hard it was. I always kind of said like, and I've talked about this before, but if I was going to do it, I wanted to do it a way I felt good about, like, who I am authentically. And like, I've always had no interest in like trying to scam somebody, obviously. So that all came into play, and I still really haven't monetized per se. I hope to in the future, but like, it just takes time. But I will say, as we got going, as you mentioned, connecting with people, opinions, leads is huge. Hey, how do you deal with this? Swapping leads, swapping site sales going on. That to me will probably make more money than any education thing I do over the course of selling on Amazon. But now I also just feel like you said, like, I think YouTube's interesting because if you continue to be consistent over time, you put in the work, you make the videos, it's not going to necessarily change your life, but another stream of like some passive income that is passive in the sense of once you do it, you're done kind of with the videos. I'm just kind of hopeful that it leads to stuff. So early on, it was purely monetary. And then as I got going, I realized the value in the connections themselves. And what keeps me continuing going is the connections. And it keeps the door open to whether I decide to do coaching one day, programs, whatever. Just as I grow and learn more and share that, it only continues to elevate my credibility. So keeps that door open.
Definitely. Tam says, agree with the connections. Yep. Connections are huge. I mean, Jonathan and I basically met through social media. I mean, obviously, but like we reached out, we post similar content, and then we got in a Discord group together. We were doing leads for a while, back and forth. That kind of fell off, but we, stayed connected on Instagram, and all of a sudden now we're doing a YouTube.
And here we are. Right.
Series together for the last like 6 months. So, I mean, and I mean, we're both similar, sellers, and we post similar content. So like, you're just going to find people in the space that you vibe with.
Right.
And you might just, there might be 2 or 3 people where you're just like, man, we have the same philosophies on business, right? We post a similar content. Like, you could find someone who you just are sharing leads with all the time. And think of it this way, like, don't be afraid to share leads with people, because if you trust that person, or you want to be able to trust that person, like one extra seller on the listing, knowing that it's a good seller, they're not going to tank the listing, right? They're not going to share it with a bunch of people. Like, you can trust that if you share a lead, they'll probably reciprocate, and you're not going to worry about like, oh, my good lead is going to be tanked because a million people are going to see it. That's just hasn't been the case, and it's not the case.
Yeah. And also, I was just on the tip of my tongue. Are you kidding me?
Oh, no.
Oh man.
Oh, no.
What was I going to say? Social media, posting. Oh, yes. You said who you vibe with and stuff too. 2 things came to mind. For one, I am such a believer in like your intuition, your gut. You can just kind of get a feel for people. And then 2, one thing that was huge for me, if anybody does get into content or whatever, it's I've interviewed people, which makes me much closer with them quickly. Like, I interviewed Alex a while ago, and it's an hour conversation, and we're talking before and after, and it's kind of an acknowledgement of like, I respect you, and vice versa by coming on. And it's also allowed me now by posting to go on other ones that, like, I just spoke to the other Alexa, and Steve's her husband. They're huge sellers, and I really, really respect them. And now that we have that interview, like, they asked me to do it. So in theory, it's doing a favor, even though I got a ton out of it too.
Yeah.
And now we have connections. And if I have a question, very, very successful, experienced sellers, I'll just reach out to them. Right. So, but it's like anything, baby steps. Right. And I think the biggest thing I would say is just do what you're comfortable with. And that's not an excuse for not doing it consistently. If you decide to take the plunge, I know it, but like, do what's true to you. You don't have to mimic anybody else in anyone else's style.
Yeah, let's dive into that a little further. But Bruce, ask away, man. We're always taking questions. If you guys have anything, we love diving into specific questions, because we can only talk so much on the social media side. But if you do have questions about social media or anything else Amazon related, we're great resources. Armand, thanks for joining. We all in the wrong business. The real margin is education business. Honestly, that's low cost business. We're not in that.
It's the chicken or the egg thing, though, right? Like, in order to educate, you have to be educated, right?
Yeah. There you go.
So you got to do one before the other.
Yep. Tam says, thanks for the honesty, guys. Created IG specifically for reselling with the same reasons, connections, and to help other resellers. Yeah, and we'll say this. I think we maybe brush it over, but don't be afraid to reach out to other sellers, even if it's a seller that's doing $1 million a year. A lot of them will respond if it's a genuine question. So, don't be afraid to ask, hey, I'm having trouble with finding leads, or, hey, my repricer is not great. Do you have any recommendations? Whatever it is, a lot of them are willing to help. I am. When I get genuine questions, I almost always answer the DMs. I get a lot of scam DMs that are just, trying to sell me stuff, but
Yeah.
there's plenty of genuine questions in the DMs that I will answer every time. So
Yeah, I'll just piggyback on that from my experience too, asking people and being asked, as long as you're putting in work, I think most people want to help you, right? So like as long as you have evidence, and I don't mean like numbers and stuff, just like, hey, I'm trying to figure this out on my own. I've attempted X, Y, and Z. Can you clarify, or whatever the case may be, or what's your 2 cents on this? I think most people are down to help people.
Yep, definitely. Tim, how's it going? Thanks for joining. Yeah, if you guys have any other questions, specific ones, ask away. But I think let's talk about YouTube specifically, because I think that's probably the easiest channel to monetize. And it's not easy by any means, but maybe let's talk about how to get there and what we've done and kind of how long our journey on YouTube has been. Because I think YouTube's probably my favorite channel to post and grow, but it's the only one getting monetized specifically, like because of the views. But if you're comfortable talking about the journey to getting monetized, I think it'd be an interesting topic to go into a little bit.
Yeah. So for anybody not familiar, I think to monetize on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken, you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. Okay.
Yep.
And so it took me probably, I don't know, posting 2 videos a week for probably close to 2 years to get there. Right. And it's certainly not like a huge cash cow by any means now, but it's something that's cool because not only can you get paid from YouTube, but like once you start building credibility, I probably get a couple $100 a month in affiliate stuff without like selling it. It's just in my descriptions, right? Genuine things that I use. Here's a discount code. I always get little notifications. That's cool. And I would say that, YouTube, everything is just consistency. It's just consistency, having your systems like, to me, I've always been comfortable. Like I said, like I'm fine getting on camera. That's not a big deal. Never really edited and stuff. I hit a wall with that. And then I was kind of like, you know what? This is education. I'm not going to worry or go crazy about the jump cuts or this edit or that. I'm going to try to provide valuable information consistently. And I know when I watch stuff, when it's learning, it doesn't have to be top tier editing. I just want the information. Now, if you do information with top tier editing, yes, it's a better package. But if editing or film quality is your concern, I don't let that get in the way. I've even like stopped making thumbnails. Now, I'm not saying that's a good idea, but like I would rather post a video with, if that means not spending time on thumbnails, than not posting a video at all.
Yep. And efficiency does matter in the space. I mean, you can spend a lot of time editing. I know people that are doing really well that have their own editor because it does take time.
Right.
But yeah, it took probably almost 2 years of consistent posting to get monetized. And the 1,000 subscribers I actually hit pretty quickly. I think I hit that in like 9 months maybe. But yeah, the watch hours is what takes time, because you'd be surprised how long, even if a video gets 300-400 views and average watch time is say 6 to 8 minutes, that's like maybe 20 hours of watch time. So you got to hit 4,000. So it does take time and consistency, but again, that's just like you said, the affiliates in the description, right? You're building the credibility, which will give you loyal followers over time, right? Just by people stumbling across your videos, some people are going to resonate with the information you're providing, and they will, follow you, right? They'll subscribe and they'll watch all the videos and they'll watch them all the way through. So you're going to have some loyal subscribers that trust what you have to say, and they will some of them will subscribe to your affiliate links, whether they're already using the software or they wanted to find a software, right? Like,
right.
I have affiliates with SellerAmp. I have affiliates with BeCool, my repricer. So it's like, I'm using it. I enjoy using it. I'm not promoting stuff that I don't actually use. So of course I'm going to put those links in my description when I'm talking about it in the video. And, just by default, you get a couple people to sign up here and there. So that's a stream from posting on YouTube. Also the monetization, once you get monetized, it's not much, right? 70 to 150, $200 a month, really max is where I'm at. But, it's not like you're going to make life-changing money, but you start to add up these couple income streams from social media,
Right.
And now, we're getting to that point where it's like, okay, this really makes sense to post because we're providing the value we wanted to provide in the beginning. We're making the connections because our following's growing and we're, getting in front of more people. And then now the monetization part just kind of adds a little extra motivation to want to get you to keep posting.
Yeah. And I would just say, like, even though we're talking about that, I really do think the utmost value is going to come from the connections, right? The sharing of the leads, the being able to ask questions. This stuff for us is like gravy. And who knows? It keeps the door open. If we do this for another 5 years and you get to 20,000 subscribers on YouTube, well, now you can make probably $2,000 a month based on your whole catalog of videos and watch time. It's like a big compounding game, right? So I'm not saying that's bad by any means, but like in the short term and for overall value, it's probably in those connections, if I had to guess.
Yep. Tim says, do either of y'all offer coaching in finding profitable leads? Do you skip over profitable products that you're gated in? I believe Amazon is a sourcing game. I'm still struggling with it. I offer one-on-one coaching if that's something you'd be interested in. I don't do coaching often, but I have taken on students before. So Tim, if you want to DM me, I will see if it's a good fit. But I definitely, both of us are great at sourcing. So if you want to ask questions in the chat here or, message us separately, just asking about sourcing, we're both open to giving some tips there because we've been each sourcing for 3 to 4 years. So we've definitely seen the good and the bad of it. So yeah, it definitely is a sourcing game though. That's the truth. If you know how to source, that's probably the hardest part, and everything else will probably come a little easier once you are really understanding of finding good leads and doing that over and over again.
Yeah, it is a sourcing game. I mean, sourcing is the name of the game by a long shot. Like if you can figure out sourcing, everything else is going to come very easily. And you asked, do you skip over profitable products that you are gated in? For me, for the most part, yes, unless the juice is worth the squeeze and I want to try to go through the ungating process. I will be honest, the more I do this, I'm not saying this is right or wrong. I find the ungating process to be very annoying. And like, just like I literally have ink cartridges next to me to my left, and they didn't come with, and then I got home and I realized you need transparency barcodes, and these don't actually even have them, even though I know they're legitimate. So like I'm doing a return on them, but like, stuff like that. I'm at a point that unless it really makes sense, it's kind of a headache to me. But if you're early on, I wouldn't get caught up in that. I would just focus on what you're allowed to sell. There's plenty out there. Get good at sourcing. And then if something's really important to you, for one, a lot of stuff becomes naturally ungated if you're pretty early on in your journey. And then I would pick and choose and make sure that it's really worthwhile. By the way, I don't want to seem like ungating is the worst thing in the world. It's just like, it's not always successful or as easeful as it should be.
Yep. And just a quick like ungating tip. If you're trying to get ungated in like a major brand and you're buying from the actual website, it should be pretty easy to get ungated if it's not an auto ungate. So definitely try to get ungated every time you're gated in a product, because a lot of times, like Jonathan said, Amazon will just auto ungate you without even requiring any paperwork or information. So, but if that doesn't work and they require information, submit the order confirmation email or an invoice if they send you an actual invoice, or you can download it from your order online. And then also it doesn't hurt to add like a shipping confirmation email or a delivery confirmation email with the order confirmation, because they just like to know that you purchased it and it did arrive to your billing address or your shipping address that you said. You're not buying something and canceling the order trying to get a fake ungate type thing. So that's basically what Amazon cares about. So anyway, Bruce asks, with OA, what % of your buys are from purely clearance items versus just sale items?
For me, I think a very small percentage are clearance, to be honest. And sale items, probably, I don't even know that so much sale as much as like buying things at the right time and stacking maybe like coupon codes. But I actually find like when obvious sales are going on and they're publicized sales, I don't love that, because then a lot of eyeballs go there. So generally speaking, clearance, I would say probably less than 5%. Sale, probably less than 20%. I'm just ballparking kind of off a feel here. What about you?
A little bit higher for me, I think. Purely clearance, yeah, there's just not a lot of that because it's such an easy thing to find. Like you said, there's just so many eyeballs on the clearance section,
Yeah.
especially items that are just always on, right? If there's just like a sale and or you go to the sale section or the clearance section on a website or in a store, and like obviously everyone's going to go there first. So not a ton of clearance, but sale items, when items are on sale, my VA does find a lot of good, like, 3-day sale type items. And if I can stack a discount on top of it or rewards points from a website that I'm in a rewards program, and then discounted gift cards, like I can get it pretty cheap. And it's usually on listings that aren't tanking really, or I've noticed don't tank as well. So yeah, if you know what you're doing, like you said, we've been sourcing so long, like we know exactly what to look for. And I mean, honestly, at this point, both of us can look at a Keepa chart in like less than 10 seconds and already determine if it's worth digging into the data more or just skipping it because it's that bad. So yeah, with that kind of ties into like the sale items and digging a little deeper. Yeah, a lot of the just plain sale items, again, if it's like a site-wide Walgreens sale, right? Like plenty of sale items, but is it going to be, non-tanking sale items? That's a tougher question because a lot of people are, even though you're stacking discounts and stuff, a lot of people are doing the exact same thing. So
I was actually just going to say, we made a video on like stacking to get discounts with gift cards and X, Y, and Z. And I think that's more applicable of our, certainly we do that with sale, certainly clearance, but like the day-to-day, the bulk is like just on, finding good product and then trying to get it at the lowest price you can. And that video kind of goes over that.
Yep. Tam asks, are you both doing all OA? We are.
Yep.
What would you say are the pros versus cons when using reverse source and Keepa Product Finder to sort versus just Keepa Product Finder sourcing?
I might need some clarification off the top of my head. What about
you? And Keepa Product Finder. So that would be like, honestly, I think it's more just like Keepa Product Finder. You're getting a specific search and then whatever that leads to, right? Like if that helps you discover a certain brand and then this one website's running a sale, or you're finding a lot of the same sellers selling that brand, then you kind of piggyback off of that. That's kind of Keepa Product Finder is great for specifically staying on Keepa Product Finder and looking through the searches, but it's also kind of a good way to go down different rabbit holes where you're like I said, you look at a search, right, of expiring or whatever the products that are recently out of stock or whatever it is, and you find a brand that's like, wow, this is really good. Oh, now I found this website that's running a sale on that specific brand. Well, it's probably more efficient to just go and manual source the site that's running the sale on that brand because you found a good brand versus kind of going through random leads on a Keepa Product Finder search. But I think that question might be a little too vague to go super in depth on. But we definitely have done Keepa Product Finder in deep dives before. So I would check out some of our older lives because we've definitely talked about it. Even our last live was just going through Keepa Product Finder searches. So probably find a lot of value there. Alex continues. Also, what are your favorite coupon extensions so far using Rakuten, RetailMeNot, and Coupon Birds?
Yeah. So like Rakuten's is like cashback. I mean, they do coupons too, but like
it's easy. It's harder to find the coupons, more easy to use the cashback, basically.
Yeah. Let's just bulk into extensions, right? So my favorite for like cashback are Rakuten and Top Cashback. Yep. I just think Rakuten is the best, like actual software. Like it's the most seamless, intuitive.
Yep.
You can like
reliable. You can count on the money almost always being added to your account.
I like Rakuten, Top Cashback. As far as coupons, Capital One Shopping and Honey actually are probably my favorite too, and RetailMeNot for coupons.
You should definitely check out RetailMeNot for cashback.
Yeah,
I don't use them all the time, but sometimes they'll throw out crazy cash. Like Rakuten will be 5%, RetailMeNot will be like 18.
Okay.
And I was skeptical because I'm like, is this legit? I did click on it once, and like all of a sudden, like 3 months later, I had $150 in my account.
Okay.
Not
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
remembering that and it's not just like it goes to PayPal, so it's legit.
Yeah.
Um, actually, I should look into if because I feel like I've used it a couple times. It's definitely not one where you can stack um, like cash backs. I know Honey and Rakuten work together. If you do Honey first and then Rakuten, it'll do both. It'll do cash back for both. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I didn't know that. Oh, and also though, Top Cashback has, I'm pretty sure, a matching program, don't they? I feel like you might have told me that.
They do. Most of the time, Top Cash Back is going to be a percentage or two over what Rakuten is, just to beat them out. I think they do that on purpose, obviously, but it's fairly rare that you'll find where Rakuten is higher than Top Cash Back. So, but they do have a matching program where let's say you're looking at Adidas.com or something, and Rakuten is 10%, Top Cash Back is 8. You use Top Cash Back. Make sure to log it right away. Once it's on your account, that it shows that you submitted the cash back for that shopping event. Go in and you can say like, oh, Rakuten was higher at 10%, and they'll go up and match it. But you have to do it right away because they want to confirm that the date and the order number and the order like confirmation email. They'll like have you paste in that you actually ordered it, and then they'll have you paste in what Rakuten was, and you might even have to take a screenshot of Rakuten's higher percentage. But you can get some. Sometimes it's worth it. A lot of times that's just too much work for me. But
Right. I was gonna say, like, if we're talking 15% on a large order, that might be worth it. That could be $100, but yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, those are definitely the great ones. I haven't actually used Coupon Birds, but you're going to get the most of the discounts from Capital One Shopping, Honey, and Retail Me Not. Those are going to
They're all legit. I mean, if you might as well use them all though. There's no harm.
And it doesn't hurt to try. If you got some, I think there's like one called what's it called? I don't know. You just search, right? Discounts on this one website, and sometimes random coupon stores will pop up. Shoot, try the codes. If they work, awesome. If they don't, whatever, you move on and you don't have the codes. So
Rebates Me is another pop-up for cashback I've used.
Yep. Tim follows up with, I have an older Amazon account that I've opened over 10 years ago. Wow. And made active again within the last couple of years. I became gated in a lot of categories that weren't gated previously. It's wild.
Oh yeah. 10 years ago, it's a different world. It's a different world by the year, by the month. You know what I mean?
Basically. Yeah. They went on a regate frenzy, like probably last year, maybe in the summer. It was sometime last year. A lot of big brands got regated, but it's easy to get ungated, fortunately. But yeah, it's probably just going to take some time to build up your catalog again and get ungated in some categories and brands.
Yep.
Next question. I can't apply Dangerous Goods program. I want ASIN.
It wants ASIN.
Oh, it wants ASIN. Yeah.
I thought you had to be invited.
You have to get invited in.
Yeah.
Yep. So if you're not invited, and Amazon will send an email, so you just got to look. Maybe you got the email and you just haven't accepted it, but go check if you got the email. If you didn't, then you just have to wait to get invited. But you can sell Dangerous Goods programs. You just have to merchant fulfill them. And when you merchant fulfill, you have to use ground shipping. So just keep that in mind. You can't ship something 2-day air if it's Dangerous Good. It has to be UPS ground, USPS ground, right?
Yeah.
Retail Me Not has offered some 15% randomly. Yeah, no, honestly, they give some cash back. I was skeptical at first, but they gave me the money. I like I said, I had like $150, and I'm like, oh, is this like Retail Me Not cash? Like I have to, kind of like, Honey
Capital
has
One
cash or whatever. Yeah, Capital One. No, they asked if I wanted to send it to my PayPal account, and then I put it in the business. So pretty sweet. Bruce says, wow. True that, man. True that. We're going to go like a couple more minutes. So if you guys have any last minute questions, anything else you want to know about social media, I feel like we did a pretty good deep dive here. So
I think I want to add something is just that if you're not comfortable showing your face, or that's not your personality, or you don't want to invest the time, I can understand that. I would still find a way to at least connect with some other people in the space. And there maybe is groups out there or Discords that you can join and just kind of introduce yourself. Say, hey, I'm this level seller. I'd really love to connect with a seller or two to start sharing some leads, and put yourself out there, like in that sense, even if you don't want to make content. I can't emphasize enough the importance and value of 1 or 2 good connections to not just have questions for, but hey, if we each commit to sharing 1 lead a day, you're now going to get 30 a month, and some of those are going to be profitable and no extra work to you, right? So I really, really can't emphasize the value enough of like making some connections.
Yeah, and like you said, it doesn't have to be an Instagram, it doesn't have to be a YouTube channel. Go make a Twitter or X or whatever, and you don't have to put your face on that. You just write text. Go join Discord groups from some of the bigger creators that you follow. And again, you don't have to show your face there. You just need to reach out to people and show genuine interest and genuine compassion to the space, and you will get that reciprocate. So definitely a great, it's helped our businesses a ton. We've been in groups together before. We've reached out to other sellers. I've asked, so especially early on, my first year, I messaged first couple years, I messaged so many other bigger sellers, and most of them responded. Most of them respond to your questions. I've even made friends with some of them. So, most creators aren't too big to respond to a small seller unless they're, and if they don't respond, or if they respond negatively, then maybe it's not worth making that connection anyway. So, but there's plenty of genuine people in the space that will respond.
Totally.
Tim, I have fortunately been in the Dangerous Goods program for several years now. Can't remember what I had to do to get it all. Yeah, it's they invite you, and you just have to maybe submit some paperwork, but I'm in it. I don't send a ton of Dangerous Goods stuff. It's nice to have the advantage. Actually, during Christmas time in Q4, some listings are really good Dangerous Goods, and like there's more FBM sellers than FBA. So the FBA sellers get the advantage around Christmas time when they really want that buy box to go to the 2-day primers. So anyway, if you don't have it, not the end of the world. I've shipped plenty of Dangerous Goods FBM. If it's worth it profit wise, then why not?
Yep, totally.
All right. Cool. It's like we got through all the questions. Appreciate all the questions. The chat was doing really well today. Everyone was really active, so we appreciate that. Hopefully you guys got some benefit, or at least maybe got inspired enough from this chat to go and start your own social media, or just if you have one, a little more active, right? Be a little more active, or at least get in people's DMs, ask the right questions, join a Discord and start, messaging people, or just making posts, right? And hopefully people respond, and you're going to make connections. It's going to happen. Even if you don't think it will, like, honestly, you just have to put in a little bit of work to make the connection, and you will find some people that you resonate with. And again, you might, in a couple of weeks, you might be sharing leads with people, and someone's sending you, $300 to $500 profit leads every single month. And that's going to infinitely help your business.
And then you have a weekly show with somebody that you connected with online, helping others to do it as well, right?
Exactly. We're good buds now, all because of, Instagram, basically.
Yep.
So, All right. Appreciate it, everyone. We'll see you guys next week.
See y'all.